On a magnificent, my goodness, Wednesday morning. It's the teddy bear, and welcome to Night Traxx Radio. And today's artist spotlight, Lord have mercy, boy meets girl. Of course, we're being joined by the incredibly gifted and talented and exceptionally beautiful Miss Shannon Rubicam, of course. And we're going to be joined, knock on wood, by George Merrill as soon as he decides to bless us with his presence. Good morning, and how are you doing?
Good morning, Teddy. I'm doing well, and now I have to live up to that intro, but I'll do my
Oh, you can.
best.
Well, look who has decided. Well, Shannon, look who has decided to join us. The man, the
It's
myth, the
George.
legend. Well, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
And a good afternoon to you.
Well, that's right. Oh, okay. I just got to know you're in England.
Greetings from London, England. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Lord. Well,
Sounds very exotic, but it's actually
yes.
not that exotic.
Well, first of all,
Hi.
I want to thank both of you for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us this morning. And one of the things that I want to talk about is songwriting. Both of you collectively are incredible songwriters, but I want to take it a step further. How are you able to connect with an artist and being able to write for them and give them the perfect sound, a perfect song that enables them to get that kind of perspective across as far as their record is concerned?
Wow. Good question.
Well, I will say that in the case of Whitney Houston with How Will I Know, we didn't know what she sounded like, and we had written the song for someone else. And the A&R person from Arista at the time, Jerry Griffith, is the one who had the ears to hear it and thought that could be right for a very young Whitney Houston. But of course, the second go around for I Want to Dance with Somebody, we knew what she sounded like. And I think we keyed on her ability to express a deep and broad emotion and her incredible range. So I think that we keyed on that for her with I Want to Dance with Somebody. Would you say that is so, George?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we had a much better idea of her range, of her capability melodically, and I think Shannon, I think you found the lyric that I think she was ready to deliver. That message, that simple message, I think she just delivered that in an unabashed way in those early days from her effervescent self. And I think since that time, I think so many generations now have been inspired by it. I'm not taking that on as we did this. I'm saying we were part of something that happened, and Whitney was really the cause of it all.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, I've seen the transition from the 70s to where we are now. The 70s was based upon the singer-songwriter, lyrics, meaning. It was
that was the era that we grew up with. That's what we became writers out of.
Right. And what I'm seeing now, I'm not seeing a lot of that now. I see a lot of overblown and overdriven music, but nothing with substance. And I wanted to ask you collectively, what was your thought process when you seen everything going to more of a digital format, and also you're seeing all these record stores closing down and going out of business, and everything is now streaming? What did you feel the next step would be for you as artists, as far as songwriting, being able to get your music out there, because you do have a new album out called Five?
We do. In 2001 and 2002, we were going through a divorce and a separation. And we wrote our way through that difficulty with an album called The Wonderground. And the only way we had at that point to market it became digital and through a website because we didn't have a record deal anymore. And so that was our introduction, really. We had to jump in, get a website, figure out how to do some promotion. And at that point, we weren't that adept at it. So we did a minimal job at it. And now with our 5, I look over this way because it's sitting on my desk. With our 5 album, we were full on digital. Everything about it is digital, except we made a limited number of vinyl copies. So in some ways, that was very welcome for us. And for bands without a record deal, because you can do your own promotion, you can have your own website, be in charge, get on the streaming. It's a lot of work. But I think younger people now, just that's how they grew up. So they're used to all of that, online, digital, everything. So yeah, I think it's been an enhancement in many ways, and an additional difficulty also because you've got a lot of content competition and you have to somehow rise above that and get visible.
Right. One of the things that I've seen that a lot of artists that I've had the pleasure of conversing with, that at one point or another in their career, they were signed to major labels, and now they're independent artists, quote unquote, free thinkers, and they have complete creative control over their product. And a lot of them are completely lost because they're so accustomed to having someone think for them and tell them what direction their product should be geared to, and they don't know how to navigate. How long did it take you to get accustomed to say, we know this is a business? Is when we say music business, let's go business first, and then music. How long did it take you to get accustomed to it?
Well, I mean, we go, we transcend decades. We go back to another time. Right. We did things old school. We had mentors that taught us. And those mentors were 2 decades older than us, and so they were some of the underpinnings of the music business at that time, and they were some of the creators of some of the great records, Arif Mardin, Tom Bell, just having a chance to work with them and learn the lessons from them. We were blessed to get such great tutelage from them. I do wonder, what it's like to be so, to have control of everything, but not have any kind of guidance or you have lots of freedom, but
Yeah, narrowing it down, I think, to what you want to do, and then what your strengths are, and sort of finding that vortex point is really key. And some artists are really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga has a label support, obviously, but she's very good at directing herself to an online, to a digital, to a streaming audience, as well as a live audience. I think Dua Lipa, people like that are really adept at using what the current tools are at hand. I think, for us, it was a leap.
Well, and if you can somehow find your creative voice, I think, I think if you got to be you got to get out and be you in a big way, and then just be you consistently. I think that's the big thing is with all the input out there, be as defined as you can, and then keep doing that thing, so that people can get a sense of what it is that you want to purvey. The old, I think you had a little bit more creative freedom in the old days to switch it up on the next record and try something different. But I think these days, with all the input, it must make that a little harder to redefine yourself. Well, you know what? I will take that back, because you
Always true.
you just mentioned Dua Lipa, and that's a perfect example. Her breakthrough was doing a retro sort of kind of a disco album, and that's when her career took off.
I wanted to ask both of you, do you think the lack of artist development at the labels today has become a detriment to what you're seeing now, as far as what a lot of the artists are doing, or the lack of what they're doing as far as presentation, stage presence, how to speak to the press, the way they dress, the way they conduct themselves? Do you think that's been a detriment?
I can't say detriment. It's certainly different. I think, if you were Joni Mitchell,
yeah,
the Rolling Stones, the Eagles, they had Fleetwood Mac. They had, I think, great breadth of expression, and they weren't always on film, photo, camera, TikTok, whatever. They weren't always in people's living rooms and in their hands, literally. So
right.
I think that gives you a little more breadth of expression to be yourself. And I think it's got to be hard now to think that all eyes are always on you. I mean, that would freak me out, honestly, is to always have to be so on, and to feel like you had to be some kind of trend, in the fat zone of some kind of trend. I think that would be really difficult. I try to imagine how that might affect me, and I think it would be kind of limiting for me. But it's really hard to place a judgment on a younger group of people, because who they're appealing to are themselves, in their own general age group. And I'm really not a part of that. So I don't know how that's received and how it feels from the source end.
I understand. I mean, when I spoke with Melissa Manchester, and she was talking basically telling me how music has changed dramatically. He said, there was a time we would get out as artists and go to different radio stations to promote our music. Yeah. And now the radio stations have completely changed formats, and it's not like that anymore. But I think it's a blessing in this aspect now that you can go online and broadcast all over the world and promote anything and everything that you're doing, and being able to still have that wonderful connection with so many fans who love you. And I wanted to ask you about that. What has it been like on this journey to know that you have touched so many people with your music, and they still love you and still follow you to this day?
Well, it means the world to us. And I, as much as the two of us, we love our private lives. It's so touching for us to know that another generation has recognized I want to dance with somebody in some way or another, and included it in their life, and it's another moment of joy that's out there, and I that's one of the things that I have adored in my relationship with Shannon and our writing is even though we're not a touring entity, the songs having a life like that continues, that it didn't just happen for one particular generation, that it's become generational. That means the world. When I hear somebody younger that's keen on it in their own way, they've taken it and redone it, remixed it, changed it up, made it their own. I just love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you never expect that to happen, of course. And then, here we are 3 decades later, and the song is still spinning around the globe, or the songs are still spinning around the globe, and touching people. And we get some beautiful fan mail from people telling us how it touched their lives personally, sometimes in really happy ways and sometimes in, uplifting ways at a moment of difficulty in their lives. And, you just can't guess at that or quantify it, except it's all about connection. And that's what you hope for.
Yeah, well said.
What was the first thought that came across your mind when you seen your video play on MTV?
Well, I can tell you, actually, it's kind of funny because that was well, it depends. If we go all the way back to the very first album and the song "Oh Girl,"
Right.
that was hilarious because even now it's such a period piece, just what we have on, the whole idea of the story behind it. That, it's like I'm wearing these big bloomy parachute pants and I got my sunglasses on.
Our shoulders are out to here.
Got shoulder pads, I know. And Shannon's, it's like they figured out the whole scenario where Shannon's like, off in the car with her girlfriends and they're doing this whole thing and it's all I'm running around in the car, but it's so funny to look at that now and that video was playing right next to Twisted Sister.
Yes.
On MTV. It was just before they switched over to VH1. So it's like, it was just funny to just imagine, that Cyndi Lauper and Twisted Sister and Boy Meets Girl there for just a short period of time.
Yeah.
Duran, they had the shoulder pads.
Yeah.
It was to me the 80s were wonderful. It was fun. It was fun music. Yeah. It was a lot of fun music.
It was. People were taking chances, big chances, and it was a lot of people were having fun with clothes and styles and pushing the envelope. I mean, Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, on and on. Yeah. People were pushing envelopes, and it was exciting, really exciting music, pop music, rock music, R&B. The R&B bands were.
Oh yeah.
I don't see that the amount of excitement and endearment that you speak of. I don't see that now. I really don't. To me, it was a magical period in time during that era of music. As you said, artists were willing to take chances with their dress, their hair, everything was just. We're going for it, and it exploded big time. Again, with you, Duran Duran. I remember Robbie Neville.
Yeah.
And George, you had that beautiful long hair, my brother. You.
He's still got hair.
Yeah. Well. No, it's a rug. It's a rug. Here, I'll come clean. It's just a rug.
Hey, a lot of times I used to have jet black long hair and I said, I'm looking like Kodak now, but that's all right.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're making up for it there. Look at it. You're making up for it.
I know you got. You're right though. There was something going on in the 80s. It was just such a large concept decade. I don't know why. Partly the economics of it. I think the economy, and I don't know why. Just all kinds of things hit, and it was such a colorful era, and optimistic, and maybe it was drug fueled also. I mean, undoubtedly parts of it were, and that sort of, makes everything seem larger and more important. And
it's big. I think you're onto it.
It was big. Yeah. Then there was a contraction, kind of in a way, into a more introspective, kind of darker music after that.
I actually, pardon the delay here, but to that point, I think I think we're on to something here, and I wonder for the two of you, what do you think? It seems to me that the music is a reflection of the times. It's not the music. It's not the other way around. So I think we are just in another time, you know. You know, and so you know, there it seems like the indomitable spirit of people cannot be kept down. So at some point somebody breaks through. So like, if you know, in the pop world it's Ed Sheeran or whatever, you know, it's just somebody breaks through and they just strike a chord. You know, it's and you know, in another era it might have been Joan Armatrading, who, I being over here in England, I'm remembering how much she influenced us in the early days, you know. But it's just funny. It's like there are just people that just break through and cause. So I just think, you know, that's going to happen. That'll always happen. That's kind of what music and art and dance. It's like there are these luminaries, these shining lights that just break. They can't be kept down, and they help define an era. You know, we were talking about Whitney. That's obvious. You know, that we, you know, celebrated and were part of that whole thing. You know, it's just I just, you know, it's going to happen again. We might have a period of time of 5-10 years or whatever, but then there'll be somebody that'll come along.
I hope so, because right now what I'm seeing is there's such a lack of balance. I see that as there's a big lack of balance in music. In the 80s, you had your pop, you had your rock, you had your R&B, you had your fun music, you had your serious music, you had your party music. And what I'm seeing now, there's no balance. Is no, as you said, the music directly reflects the times that we're in right now. It really truly does. Both of you are very, very extremely private individuals. At any time, do you ever miss doing any kind of live performance?
Gosh, well, that was emphatic.
Not just literally.
When we do something about it.
Yeah. I really think, you know, just we have this love of being in the studio and creating. It's so hard to beat that feeling. And then once in a while, like we work with Olaf Thompson on publishing and all kinds of things like this interview and such. And so he was in the studio one time with us, and we just played him a spontaneous a cappella version of "Wanna Dance with Somebody" at the piano.
Okay.
And, you know, those kinds of little things, that makes me kind of miss performing a little but the thing that I loved about that moment is that it was completely spontaneous. And, you know, some people probably are adept at making their live performances that they do night after night spontaneous in some way. But that's really the catch for me. That's what I love.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole period of our lives early on that was all about purveying and playing and going from place to place, and we had the good fortune to tour with Denise Williams over here. I remember living out of the Edgware Road Metropole Hotel, and out to all the gigs and stuff. And I remember standing on the Hammersmith Odeon stage, and I had to sing, "Yes, it's over, call it a day. Sorry that it had to end this way." You know, looking like me, I had to look across at Denise and be real, and you know, everybody was looking out, kind of going, "Really, him?" You know, when maybe we could have Jeffrey Osborne or somebody. But you know, I did my part. I did my bit, and we had such a good time. Oh, it was so much fun touring with Denise, and she was so sweet, and those were great times. And so I have to say, our live experiences have been adventurous and exciting and fun. And even as Boy Meets Girl, the stuff that we did back in the 80s, the little bit that we did, there was so much that were video shows and that sort of thing. But we got a chance to sing once in a while, and it was great. But really, the whole idea of putting that whole machine together. I totally get why people love it and love the exaltation and everything. But I have to say, I think Shannon and I both are on the same page. And if we're ever not, there's lots of room. All of a sudden, if Shannon stands up on the desk and says, "Nah, this is the time. I want to get out there," I will be there. I will back you up. I will totally be there. And I know it'd be the same thing for you. Back me up too. But for now, I just, I'm excited. I can't wait to get back. We're going to write some more songs in the fall. We're going to get back together, and we're just collecting ideas now. Let's get going again. Let's write a new one.
I've had an opportunity to listen to the album 5. You both did an incredible job, and it keeps me wanting and yearning for more. And I want all the listeners to know that the album is available as we speak. It is on iTunes, so be sure to buy the album. That's important. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to purchase 10 albums of my own, and I'm going to give them away as prizes on our next broadcast. And be sure to get all the latest updates. Make sure you stop by their official website. That's boymeetsgirlmusic.com. Have any movies or producers have come to you as far as writing scores for different movies?
They've not. Early on, we had the opportunity to submit songs for and write specifically for a couple of movies. They didn't use our songs though. That's a whole other tricky area, is to try to write a song for a movie. It's a great challenge and wonderful. I think about the song that Lady Gaga wrote for Maverick, for the Top Gun Maverick version.
Yeah.
I think she did, she really nailed the feeling of it. Mm-hmm. And that just soaring vocal and melodic line and everything. So, the visual elements, the storyline elements, the sort of tempo of a movie and feel of it, that's a real challenge. I can't say we were hugely successful at that. But soundtracks, yet. Thank you.
Yet. Shannon, I got to ask you a question. One of the things that I get from you is that music and writing music is very therapeutic for you. Uh-huh. How therapeutic is it for you when you're going through, because we all go through our ups and downs, our little tideways and tidways in life. How therapeutic is it for you to do as far as really focusing on your songwriting?
I think it's everything, really. It's such a major communication tool for me. I mean, I'm fairly articulate speaking, but there's a whole other way that you can speak when you're writing a lyric, partly because there's going to be some music to it also that's going to sort of colorize and fill in those emotional places where, your words are sort of leading to that, and then there's going to be the support of the music. But I would say, my lyrics have always been sort of a diary. I don't keep a diary. So I think that's really pretty well tracking a lot of what my inner self is thinking or feeling or just wanting to say out loud. Yeah.
George, it comes across to me that you never overthink anything. You're about doing things in the moment, but everything comes to you in a very naturally organic fashion as a songwriter.
Capricorn.
And I wanted to ask you.
He's a Capricorn.
What are some of the things that motivate you or you've learned on this journey in your life and music to help you to become a better songwriter, to give people more of an insight on who George Merrill is?
I so appreciate that question, that insightful query and question. I have to think back on, I can remember back in my 20s, and Shannon and I were, aware of this together as well, starting to just be aware of intuition and trusting intuition and what intuition is, just how each one of us defines it in some way. It's a combination of little hints or clues that come together, and acting on intuition. So I'd have to go back, and I think my life became a different life once I started living from that place, because there's a little inner voice that happens for all of us, and if we aren't listening to it, life will happen in some manner or another. But if we listen to it and we pay attention to it, especially when you get as old as me, start to find that there are things that you've been listening to for quite a while, and so it just becomes finer tuned, and it's an exciting, to me, that's like one of the most exciting things. It's one of the elements of life that I find is so surprising, is that at the last minute, just before you go on air together or whatever, there's something that happens, and you can, at that moment, you can freak out or whatever, but you can just kind of listen, then just kind of figure, well, there's a reason for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And
it sounds very liberating.
Yeah, if you stay in the moment.
It's a good thread, and I think it's a lifeline, like you're saying. That intuition takes being present, though.
It does. It's like it is a big leap to trust it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's anyway. It can be not for the faint of heart, but I think it also leads to some wonderful gifts of surprise and life animation.
Yes.
Not allowing fear to control your destiny. That's why it's so refreshing when you're able to live out and do the things that you want to do. First of all, again, I want to thank you for taking time and joining us today. Again, family, be sure to get the new album 5. It is available as we speak. And also, this is your home. Whatever you need to promote, don't hesitate to let me know. We will definitely make sure that it's out there. And again, George, you still have your chops, my man. You still have your vocal range. You still got.
He's cooking along.
You are too kind, man. That's high praise. Thank you.
You still have it. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of artists, and they have not taken care of their, I don't even say physical, but the mental aspect of who they are and what they are. Again, it goes back to when you have somebody thinking for you and you're not allowed to think for yourself. It's like a lost child. And I'm so happy that both of you collectively are still doing great things and making great music. And Shannon, again, you're looking absolutely captivating. Keep writing. Keep writing your music. Please go right ahead.
May I interject?
Please.
We will send you a few autographed 5 vinyl albums also. So you can,
thank you so much.
So you'll have those in your arsenal.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We are thankful and indebted to you for this time. I'm and your awareness and your questions and all. This has been such a pleasure to spend time with you.
No, the pleasure is truly all mine. I mean, we're all collectively, we're 21 years old, so we've seen we've seen a lot, and I get a greater appreciation to know that we still have artists out there like yourself who still appreciate what it means to be an artist, an overall artist, and that is sorely missing. So, if you could write that magic track to bring us all together and break on through to the other side, as Jim Morrison once said, make it happen and we'll play.
Thank you, Teddy. Well, you're a joy to do an interview with. I thank you so much.
Thank you, my queen. The pleasure was truly all mine. Boy meets girl. Lord have mercy, here on the Traxx Radio. The wonderful George Merrill and Shannon Rubicam, of course. And family, be sure to get the new hit album 5. It is available on iTunes. And to get all the latest updates to let your fingers do the walking, stop by their official website at boymeetsgirlmusic.com. My goodness. Thank you so much. You know, we all have a bucket list and we all truly want to do things that we truly want or love to do. And I can honestly say, I have been truly blessed to have the opportunity to do this for almost 16 years and have some of the greatest artists in this industry honor us with their presence, and just to sit down and converse with them and pick their brain on anything and everything. And I feel so humble about that. So again, without you, there's no Night Traxx, and there's definitely no Teddy Bear. Mr. Rated Extraordinaire. I want everybody to have a wonderful week. Rest of the week, my goodness, is Wednesday. And remember, if you didn't catch the interview, no need to worry. We're going to have it up on our official website. That's on YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel. That's at YouTube. That's at Night Traxx with 2 X's, Night Traxx Radio Podcast. That'll be up. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram. That's at Instagram at Night Traxx Radio. Same, 2 X's. The same thing for TikTok. We're definitely on TikTok too. That's at tiktok.com/Night Traxx Radio. And what am I forgetting? And Facebook. That's on facebook.com/Night Traxx Radio. Again, thank you so much. And as in always, keep it soulful here on Night Traxx Radio.